And it appears we are live. Welcome to the show, guys. So before we get started, we're going to talk about the hashtag walk away, hashtag me too, and more hashtags than you can shake a stick at. All this and more tonight on the Unframe of Mind Show. And of course, stick around for the mystery link of the week. Everything okay over there?
Yeah, sorry.
I need to mute you for just a minute and let you get all situated.
Go ahead. I apologize.
Right. Welcome to the Unframe of Mind Show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. It's the place where people come to lose their Facebook friends, or as I like to call it, dodge bullets. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner, and today I have three fine guests on with me today. You might recognize a couple of them from previous episodes, and one might look familiar only insofar as that they're related to each other. So we'll get there. Anyway, so I'd like to welcome the host of the Disgruntled Millennial Show and professional exploder of liberal heads, Brett Siegel.
Greetings and salutations.
All right.
Hello.
And also like to introduce singer, songwriter, and Brett's mom, Ellen Buxtel.
Buxtel.
He told me, and I still screwed it up. All right, and last but certainly not least, our oddly, politically, and mentally out of place friend from Twitter, Vanessa.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Greetings.
Did I give away all your secrets?
You did.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's on Twitter.
We try to save that for about 5 minutes in, but I just felt like putting it all out front so we can be friends with
Yeah, might as well.
All right, so for anybody who has not seen this before and doesn't know what we do here, I actually like to start with a lightning round at the beginning of the show. I know a lot of shows like to wait till the end of the show to do this, but I like to do it as a little icebreaker in the beginning, kind of get everybody talking a little bit. So I'm going to go with question number one. You can answer this in any kind of order you want to, so just scream it out, yell it out, pinch your throat, and I don't care, whatever you want to do. At any rate, so number one.
I'll just go like this. Spirit fingers.
Do that. That's spirit fingers. I like that. All right. So first question is, what is your favorite hashtag today? If you have.
My favorite hashtag today is walk away 110% because it's the only hashtag campaign ever that is worth a damn at all.
All right.
Ever.
All right.
Ever.
I like it. I've been pretty interested in the hashtag QAnon a little bit, as well as the hashtag walk away. Anybody else have a favorite hashtag?
Same. QAnon. I'm with QAnon. Oh, you can't go wrong. It's just juicy stuff. People need to know about that too. And also the hashtag walk away.
Well,
So
sounds like we're all in agreement, because this just so happens that might be what we're talking about today. I seen another spirit fingers go up.
I'm in the midst of a situation that makes me feel like walking away right now. So that would be mine as well.
Well, we'll definitely get to that certainly tonight. So it's question number two. If someone you were interested in sexually approached you with a contract for consensual sex, what would you do?
That's what I would do. Literally.
Me too.
I'd say here's my consent form, okay?
Yeah, right. This has actually been a legit kind of thing been going on lately. Is people
really
these contracts that you can sign?
Yeah, so they can avoid people from accusing them of rape or something.
Right, and then they got apps you can do and everything. Like it's quite
shows mutual consent.
That's very organized. Oh, sorry.
Not a bad idea, actually, in this environment these days, with people, slinging accusations.
Exactly, agree with you 100%, Mom. If I were the guy in the situation, I'd be the one showing up with the consent form. I'd be like, okay, what do we got going on here? What is it that we have agreed to do? I want to make sure there's complete, everything's on the up and up. Make sure that you know what's going on here.
Right.
Stuff. That's the funny. They think that the girl showing up with the consent form, that's what's going to stop the injustices from happening. But honestly, it's the guys being accused of rape unnecessarily. So I would say that the guy why wouldn't? Yeah. Well, look, consent. Yeah. I'm going to go with my first reaction. I would laugh right in their face. I'd be like, okay, this isn't happening. you're on your own. Good luck with that. Like, have fun.
Right.
Like, you know, I'd be like, I'd stick out my hand. I'd be like, you know, like, let's shake on it.
No, like
And
taking
it's shake on it.
a palm and doing like the blood brother handshake.
Secret handshake.
Yeah.
I'd do a real.
We do
I'd hop.
squares?
I'd
Like-
hop a real loogie too. I'd be like, like, yeah.
That's awesome. So check this out. If you're interested, I've actually created my own sex contract as well. Can we bring that up for just a second, please?
Sheldon.
Yeah, keep in mind that I'm a bit of a smartass. So if anybody is interested in this particular sex contract, it's just have a look at it there. So yeah, basically I've got the link in the description for anybody who wants to use it. But
I love that.
basically, yeah.
That's great.
Got a few things on there. My favorite part, I would say, if we scroll down to the bottom, is that you have to get these signatures from all of these different people in order to validate the contract, such as
Like a notary.
yeah, you have to get party 1 and party 2, of course. You have to get the parents. You have to get a Muslim imam. Judge must sign it. You have to get 1 cast member of Friends to sign it.
Have you used this yet?
Like that Catholic priest there.
I haven't
I'd be like,
I haven't had to use it because I'm married. So, but I just wanted to, I think about others, you know, I really care, and I want others to have the opportunity to protect themselves, you know, from any kind of.
I think it would be very prudent of people in some instances, actually.
I'd be like, damn, baby, you made me do all this stuff and you ain't even put fellatio.
That should be in the contract, though.
It might be. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, let's move on to question number 3. So a fling from 20 years ago calls you up and says they're pressing charges for sexual harassment. What is your next move? And this is not outside of the ordinary. This is stuff that's been happening lately.
Hang up.
Just
Hang up.
I guess I did say calls you, huh? Like,
well, we're half
how the hell
man,
you have
half
my
man.
number?
Well, here today we're half man, half woman. So I would say, where have you been all my life? Like, literally, practically my whole like adult life. Where have you been?
Like, I don't remember. I'm sitting here thinking 20 years ago, I was like 14. I'm like, good luck, lady. I was underage. Or guy. I don't judge. It could have been a guy.
I'd be like, are we using juvie laws, or are we using? I mean, am I being tried as an adult, or because
Right.
you know?
Anyway, so that's kind of just a little hint of kind of what we're talking about tonight. A couple main topics. I really wanted to touch. Let's start with the hashtag Me Too movement. This kind of came back into my consciousness again from this article from the Daily Mail. That basically says that if you want sex, you got to make sure you get a definite yes, and they're actually trying to pass laws that make it, you know, so that you have to
Mandatory?
say, mandatory, like trying to, you know, I don't understand it. If you
How romantic.
want to bring it up on the screen. So it says, if you want sex, you have to say yes. Minister says verbal consent for intercourse must be given prior to act. New South Wales Minister Prue Goward says consent must involve a verbal yes. It's a responsibility of both in the ask and in the reply. Her statement comes as the NSW government prepares a sexual assault strategy, and the proposed package will involve a suite of reforms and education initiatives.
But like, who's gonna ask? Like she was saying, that's not romantic. Like you just kind of, you know, go into it. But I mean, I'm not gonna ask like, hey, unless you know I'm like deep into the relationship. Like, hey, you want to have sex? But like not right off the bat. Like it's just you kind of ease your way into it, you know.
Yeah. So first off, look,
I don't know.
It takes coy to a brand new level, you know, like because you know there's that dance that whole dance that
You wanna?
I don't know that with this lady I would be concerned with getting a verbal yes. I probably wouldn't even have brought the paperwork.
Oh, yeah. From her.
Look, listen. New lovers go between, you know, like they go through a little dance. You know, you wanna? No, I don't wanna. Okay, you wanna? No, I don't wanna. You know, there's a little thing, and you know what? Sometimes they wanna, sometimes they don't wanna. But it doesn't mean that, like, look, it happens when it happens. It happens when it's consented upon, and then you know, like, oftentimes it happens in the moment. And imagine the moment when someone goes, oh, okay, you wanna, and then all of a sudden she stops, you're kissing, you're making out, you're touching, you're feeling up and all that stuff. And then she stops and says, before we start, I'm going to sign these consent forms here. You have to check mark what it is you're willing to do. I'm going to check mark what I'm willing to do just to make sure it's all, look, put it this way. If you need to sign a consent form with somebody, you probably shouldn't be in the bedroom with them in the first place.
So, training for frontline sexual assault health workers, anti-harassment lessons for school children, and a $1 million advertising campaign on how to obtain a clear yes are all key focus areas covered under the proposed package. Now, check this out here. What was I reading this part? The NSW police received 13,309 incident reports concerning sexual assault throughout 2017. While figures last week revealed a 12% increase in victims in the last year. Now, I'm going to maybe let you guys fathom why suddenly they're having such a increase.
12% of people said that somebody raped them when they weren't actually being raped, when they were basically told by their gender studies teacher that if they didn't give an affirmative yes, that they were raped. Or, for example, if somebody held the door open for them and they didn't want to have the door held open for them by this patriarchal male, that it was some sort of micro rape. And then, of course, the statistics use that as part of their ammunition.
That might be part of it as well. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's almost become kind of like a fad, like, oh, me too. Like, me too. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, when it was cool to be gay, it's like now, from a girl's standpoint of view, it's like, it's cool now. Like, oh, well, I have a story. Like, me too. Just like he was saying, things can be misconstrued. And that's, there's a fine line between people being jerks and people genuinely, getting violated.
Harassed, yeah. Listen, when you go around saying me too about everything, and it basically discounts and minimizes the whole idea of actual harassment. When someone is harassing you, someone looks at you cross-eyed from across the street, it's not a me too moment. Somebody looks at you cross-eyed, okay? That's not the spirit of the Me Too moment and the Me Too movement, and it honestly negates the entire movement by going around saying "Me Too" about everything and everything.
Right.
Okay,
I agree.
By doing that, you minimize the heinousness of actual sexual harassment when you're using your power to screw with somebody's life in a sexual way. That's one of those things that you shouldn't do. It's like when someone accuses Trump of being literally Hitler. You minimize every person who was killed in the Holocaust, just like you minimize every person who was genuinely raped or genuinely sexually harassed by claiming Me Too about absolutely everything.
Right. Because if somebody actually did go through a pretty traumatic ordeal and they bring it up, and people are so tired of hearing this hashtag Me Too, they're like, oh yeah, I'm sure you too. Yeah, I get it. Like you and everybody else.
Oh, it's honestly
exactly.
I'm over it, but I've actually been violated pretty badly in the past, but I got over it. And it's not to say that, people, because I still have PTSD, I'm still paranoid sometimes, but I don't go around saying, me too, because I don't know, it's like he said, it doesn't legitimize it anymore, what they're doing. It kind of bastardizes it. It's weird.
Exactly. Here's the thing. You don't want your stuff announced on the daily news and all that stuff. It's like a personal thing. The fact that all these people are coming out with these fake Me Too moments where it's just like, oh, somebody looked at me cross-eyed, or somebody said something rude to me, or someone told a off-color joke in my presence, these all becoming Me Too moments, it makes people who actually have been violated not want to come out. Okay, it actually hurts the people who they say they're trying to help. But in the age where the best thing you can be is a victim, why won't people listen, if you're in this age, you're either a victim or an oppressor. So if you have an opportunity to become a victim, then that means that you have the opportunity to not be an oppressor, because you're one or the other.
How about hashtag I'm not a victim?
Yeah, right. That's a good one. That's a good one. Because that's actually what you're doing is you're putting yourself in this victimhood mentality, and it's really hard. I'm like, there's nothing more disempowering than constantly viewing yourself as a victim, as this helpless, like, I can't control anything, I can't do anything about my situation. It's like, no, you got to be on the opposite end of that. You know, yes, I'm sure some real heinous shit happened to you, but you can't sit there and keep dwelling on it and looking at yourself as a victim. Like, be empowered, take charge, take control, do the, you know, take training if you need to make sure you can defend yourself, make sure you're taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Get a gun,
air mace in your purse, or whatever the case you have to do.
You're absolutely right. A lot of people, a lot of different groups right now, like that's what they're doing. They're perpetuating their own victimhood, the victim mentality. And it's kind of like, you know, random hive minds that they have. And I think it's all a part of a, I don't know, a psyop maybe. But they're definitely victims of their own circumstances. I mean, like, it's all in their head.
So Anthony from the comments, Predfantony 23, he says hashtag is the £. So technically it's pound me too.
Pound me too.
Pound me too.
That's true.
The opposite effect of the actual.
You're just begging for it. You're begging for it. That's terrible. It's terrible. That's why I didn't invite him to the show tonight. He's so wrong. He's so wrong. At any rate. Yeah, so all those might be really good reasons why the incidents have gone up in Wales, in South Wales. I did do a little research, and I because I was just out of curiosity, I looked at the consensus numbers at for South Wales. And would you know? Would you know that the actual rates of Muslim language speakers has gone up, and the rates of Islam religion have also gone up recently?
That doesn't surprise me.
Obviously, correlation does not equal causation. I am very well aware of this, but I mean, we can look in many, many situations where this has been the case, where a very restricted and very oppressive culture comes to a less oppressive culture, the West, and they lose their damn minds. You know, they go from, you know, their women are all covered up to all of a sudden I can see damn near everything. Girls are going around in bathing suits and shit, and they just lose their minds. I'm saying that that's definitely could be part of the reason why the rape statistics have gone up so sharply within the last year or so. What do y'all think about that?
I would say, imagine my shock. Listen, Muhammad was a rapist. Muhammad was a rapist. Muhammad was a pedophile. Like, the entire movement of Islam was solely based on Christianity and Judaism. There would be no Islam if there were no Christianity or Judaism. Islam was made for the specific fact of eradicating Christians and Jews. When they were trying to destroy Israel, when all these Muslim countries were ganging up to destroy Israel, they said, we'll first take Saturday, Shabbos, and then we'll take Sunday, church on Sunday. They said, first we're going to take Israel, then we're going to take America. That's their goal. The goal is imperialism. Sorry, like, it's embedded in the philosophy. It's embedded in, you know, Islam isn't a religion. It's a political philosophy. Leftists like to use Islam as a cover for this religious freedom, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of the evil blend of both, really. It is a religion, but it is also a political ideology and a political system, and that's the part that seems to keep getting left out in the conversation. But yeah. I was just curious because I didn't know if Australia was dealing with new waves of refugees coming into their country right now. I had no idea, so I was just curious about the numbers. So if you go and look at the consensus numbers, you can kind of see the changes that have happened recently, and it's very possible that's part of what explains the chart.
Let me look it up. Hang on, let me look it up. Islam. It says Islam is a religion of peace here.
Oh, sorry, my bad. You're right. I digress. I stand corrected. So check this out here. I think we're done with that article. Let me see here. What are the age consent laws in the world? So this was an interesting one for me. I just want to show you guys this right here. I was looking up different age consent laws in different countries. It says the lowest age of consent in the world is 11 in Nigeria. The age of consent is 12 in the Philippines and Angola, and 13 in Burkina Faso, Comoros, Niger, and Japan. So,
but America has a rape culture, so none of that matters.
It gets better. Additionally, several Middle Eastern and African countries have no legal age of consent, but They ban all sexual relations outside of marriage. This has raised concern by many international organizations, especially in some countries where girls are married as young as 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah. Muhammad married Aisha at 9.
What's that?
I was actually looking it up earlier. In the United States, there are only three states that actually have an age of consent from 16 and above for marriage. Anything else like is game. Basically, like I think it's 12 is the minimum, but you can get still married at the age of 12 here in the United States.
Oh.
I don't know. That was shocking to me.
Everywhere in the country?
No, not everywhere.
Yeah, there's 3 states that.
Based on this map of the world here, and just to be clear, this is not a flat Earth. This is a round globe for anybody who's wondering. And it did not surprise me when I saw the dark red areas for the must be married that also happen to be clustered around Middle Eastern and Muslim heavy nations. Also seems to be centered around the Trump travel ban type areas of the world as well. Very heartbreaking, actually. And we're wondering how in the world can we bring these types of beliefs and ideologies into our...
I know. What's so heartbreaking
that it's going to have an effect on the overall culture that we currently have.
What's so heartbreaking is that our 9-year-olds won't be exposed to like the beliefs of a 4th century pedophile. That's the heartbreaking thing, right? You know, like, I mean, why should our 9-year-olds have the security of knowing that they're not going to be raped and molested by some strange like douchebag in a beard with a big? I'm sorry about you. I'm not.
That's a good question.
Present company notwithstanding.
No, I wish you weren't so serious. For a second there, I thought you were being sarcastic. Really thought you were being sarcastic.
No. Like the travel ban, the way it was made out to seem was like it was a Muslim ban. And you know what? Some people would be more comfortable with that. A lot of people were, you know, like it's not a Muslim ban. Muslims from all around the world can still get here. It's just a ban on these countries where.
Well, that's an easy. It's really an easy fix.
Anything goes.
Just banning a few countries. Just say, you know what? Our borders are closed for right now to straighten this out. How about
what's a big deal? Like we're just trying to clean up shop. We have to clean up here before. I don't even know why people are bitching about, let's clean up other places. Like we have to start here first. How are we gonna, I mean, this is our responsibility. We're not responsible for anybody else. They should have fixed their own shit a long time ago.
Well, it does. I mean, if you're thinking about this in a rational, at a rational level, and you're looking at those facts, then yes, that makes perfect sense that we need to go ahead and clean up this first. Problem is, the left is not interested in actually helping people. They're interested in keeping power. That's really the only driving force here. Mm-hmm. And what happens is when you're driving for power, you got to make sure you stay voted in. Well, what's happening is they're needing these immigrants to come in to become a voting population to increase their numbers so that they can maintain their hold on power. That makes any sense?
No, absolutely. That's exactly what they're doing. That's why, like we, as logical people, that's why we have to be the proponents of truth and try. I don't know if we can at this point because there's so many liberals. They're just so far off, and I don't know where.
They're
brainwashed.
They're rabid.
So I want to move into that particular topic. I think this has more to do with the hashtag walk away movement that we're seeing right now. And it was pretty interesting because I was doing a little research on this, and an article came out on the 2nd of July from the Washington Post that says that, let's see. Yeah, from the Washington Post. They say as the internet fragments, our understanding of what it means to go viral has become complicated and increasingly meaningless. A hashtag claiming to capture a movement among liberals has gone viral, in this case, almost exclusively on the right-wing internet, as a reinforcement of one of its binding ideas. There's little actual evidence to suggest that hashtag walk away represents a mass conversion of millions or even thousands of Democrats to the Trump train. Now, it's interesting that they wrote the article because
It just reminds me of election night when 5 minutes up to the actual the actual count, that Hillary was 98% chance of winning. Okay.
Yeah, so they're writing this article saying, "Oh, this hashtag walk away, it means nothing. Don't worry about that."
The Washington Compost, of course.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then they're saying, and then they're going on to say, well, what's it really mean to go viral? What's it really mean? This isn't really viral. It's not really having an impact. And the funny thing is I'm looking at like Facebook groups that I've joined where thousands of people have joined these Facebook groups, and they're telling their stories about how they've left the left, how they left the Democratic Party. Not so much that they changed their ideas necessarily. It's just that I can't. They're like, hey, these guys are crazy. They've gone way too far. Like it's like this movement to try to
been hijacked.
My mom has her own story because she's going through some of this stuff right now as we speak. We're literally in the middle of some stuff with friends and family.
I definitely wanted to.
Oh gosh, definitely want to hear. Yeah.
I definitely wanted to get into that. So if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little background on what's been going on with you and kind of basically your walk away story, so to speak, if you don't mind, Miss Ellen.
Well, actually, I'm sort of right in the middle of a hurricane and this swelling of people like rising up and wondering what's wrong with me, and. Why
are they wondering what's wrong with you, though?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying. You know what? I've gone online. I've gone on Facebook several times, and I've expressed my deepest thoughts and feelings about how I want people to try to talk to each other. I want people to stop slinging shit and names at each other. It's so not productive. It's so mean and cruel, and we're losing. Everybody's losing the argument for the rabid way that people are treating each other. And that's been my whole platform, is let's just be nice. I mean, we all have a right to our opinions. We all have a right to believe what we want. And we can be, I feel like I can be anywhere on the spectrum I please, in terms of depending on the issue. And that's how I deal with my politics, is by the issue. I don't want to be put in a box under any circumstance, but I find myself isolated from a lot of my friends who are very, very liberal, and more power to them. They have every right to believe and think what they want, but don't get in my face if I don't agree, and don't call me names. People are throwing out names that are obscene. Like Brett said earlier, when people use words like, you're a racist and Trump is like Hitler and the immigration situation now is like this concentration camps, and I'm thinking, how utterly insulting is that to the people who were truly victimized and brutally treated and killed during the war and actually in the concentration camps. To compare something like that to what's going on now just is beyond me. And people don't get it. And of course, there's still deniers. There's still Holocaust deniers, which blows my mind.
So you had the audacity to suggest that maybe we can think for ourselves and maybe we should communicate better with each other.
Yes.
Right.
You monster. You are a monster. I don't I can't even look at you right now. I'm thinking we're just gonna have to wrap this up pretty quick. I am losing my cool right now. I'm just kidding.
Ma, tell them about the right to try, the whole issue about right to try.
Doug, Brett's father and my husband was a hemophiliac, and he contracted HIV over 30 years ago. When he was dying and on his deathbed, practically, there were drugs that were available, but the FDA had not approved them and given credence to them. So basically, for all the time that it took for it to become available, it was too late for Doug, and he died in our home. And so Trump recently signed into law the right to try, that people who are on their deathbed or who are dying can have a right to the drugs that are either being tested or, that they can make a decision themselves. I mean, what do they have to lose? So I put that out on Facebook, told the whole story, gut-wrenching story of my husband, and he died, and it was a painful death, and all my liberal friends did was sling shit about Trump. They said, how could you, I use the word, I applaud Trump.
Absolutely.
I applauded Trump for what he did. And now people will be able to be on their deathbed and maybe get some help, maybe get a few more months of life. You know, if Doug had gotten the medicine in time, who knows that he couldn't have had another 6 months with his children. They were 2, 4, and 6 years old. Brett was 6 years old when he died. They never got to know him. So here I am spilling my guts and opening up my heart to everybody and saying, we've got to, and all they could think of was how could you say anything nice about Trump? How could you? And he didn't write the bill. You know, he didn't write the law. Well, no, residents don't write laws. They sign them. I said he signed it into law. That means that the FDA is in some form obligated to let people try those drugs. And so that's one of many incidents. And then I went online also to say, I'm not going to be a hater. I'm not going to let you anyone turn me into a hater. If you believe something and I don't agree, I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to call you names. And I went on and on and on. And of course, my rabid liberal friends just, you know, ran, you know, shotgun.
They lambasted you because you were not vocal enough about hating Trump. All right, it's not good enough that you just stay quiet. You have to actively go out there and hate on Trump. You have to discount everything he says. And if you're not as rabid as they are, they think that something's wrong with you. They question your mental faculties.
They think you're the crazy one. I've lost many friends, unfortunately, and it not only when I was waking up, so to speak, because your mentality it changes. You're right. You get more you gain more empathy and you relate more. You just look at things differently, and it's a sad state right now that you can't even tell your heartbreaking story without getting you know, backlash for Trump of all things.
Was that one of the first? Was that one of the first major instances you kind of had where you had that backlash? I mean, I can't imagine you expected that to be the response.
Well, for her, he's talking to you, but I'll say that she and I had a conversation before she went out with this whole right to try thing, and she said we were already having these conversations. The liberals were already going nuts. You could already see everyone had Trump derangement syndrome. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? She's still trying to reason with them. So that was her attempt to reason with them.
Right.
And she said, before she posted that, she's like, how can anybody not get on board with this? How can anybody not get on board with this right to try?
You're typing it up, and before you hit that magic send button, you're going back over it, going, okay, all right, everything looks good. Everything looks, there's nothing they can attack me for. This is a great story.
And they found something. And they found something.
It's unbelievable. It's mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing.
And I don't know if you want to talk about what happened in the last day or two, but that's pretty big if you ask me. Because there's all sorts of articles going out. Well, if your husband supports Trump or if your wife supports Trump, well, it's time to break up.
Yeah, this is definitely not a story that's happened lately. I've heard quite a few of them. You're more than welcome to share if you'd like. Wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I say go for it. This is a safe place. The internet.
Yeah, the internet. Oh, sure.
Just so we're clear, remember, this is the show where you come to lose Facebook friends. I mean, dodge
So trust me, she lost like 10 Facebook friends today just because of this shit that happened.
My friend Anthony's watching right now. He did say thank you for sharing your story. By the way, he really liked it. And
yeah.
Oh, I got a lot of them.
We're still working on a full-on walk away thing.
Okay,
so.
that's all good. That's all good. It takes time. But basically,
you know, I have had people contact me during some of the rants, you know, and the threads that have come up that I've posted, who have been so afraid to come out that they text me privately to say, you know, because they are conservative. And they're afraid because I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm in a community of very, very liberal people who we write songs. And I wrote a song called "By My Silence" that now everybody is throwing up in my face. Like, how could you write a song like that or sing a song like that and not hate Trump and all this stuff. And I said, and the point is, I am. The song was inspired by Martin Niemöller, who wrote the famous words, "First they came for the communists, and I didn't speak out," and on and on and on. And when finally, because I didn't speak out, when they came for me, there was nobody left.
Right.
So I wrote this song. It's gotten a lot of notoriety, and they're throwing it in my face. And I say, I'm doing exactly what my song says. I'm speaking out. And I'm thinking, where are these people's brains that they can't see that? Because I am not a supporter of their philosophy and of their way of thinking, and that makes me, a bad person.
So I try to have some kind of empathy for these people, because honestly, I truly believe that most people are in their hearts good people, and they really want the best, and they want to help people. I don't think liberals are inherently evil. I think they're just propagandized and stupid. I mean, that's basically straightforward. They've been constantly hammered with this story, this narrative that Trump is the evil man in evil shoes, and you all must hate him or else, or you.
But you gotta break free. I mean, like at some point they just gave up their, the right to their mind, the key to their mind, and they just went along with these narratives, and it's just, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense.
I think
a lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that most of them are a bunch of lemmings that are following the lemmings on their path to exploding heads.
Right. When you come up in a situation or a system that doesn't teach you how to think critically, doesn't teach you how to question the narrative, doesn't teach you how to question authority, and then you also are raised in a situation where parents are like this authoritarian style kind of bullshit with like, I am in power and you are the little people. It's like it sets up this position where people are just automatically taken with power. They just kind of just give into it, like, okay, well, the government says I have to do it, so I have to do it. The news says this is true, so it must be true. They don't really think. They're not independents.
No,
and they don't.
I think also what people need is to clear all their old baggage, because all this violence, it's coming from somewhere. Because I've never seen so much hatred for just random shit, just illogical to me shit that they get so worked up about. And I think it stems from somewhere. I think that they need to start clearing their own hearts prior to
Funny you
and
say
then
that's funny you say that. I hate to cut you off, but check this out. I actually heard this. I heard this on an episode of the Malcolm Gladwell's show. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? Brain fart.
Something. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Revisionist History, the Revisionist History podcast with Malcolm Gladwell, and he's very liberal in his beliefs when I listen to him, but he does have some elements of truth. And he was talking about a completely different story, but I pulled this little clip out because it reminded me exactly of what you were just talking about, Vanessa. Let me play this clip for you guys. It's about a minute long, and just get your thoughts.
Made no sense that there was.
Oh, sorry. Pause it for a minute. Sorry, pause it for a minute. Just for some context. Just for some context, he's talking about a story where a bunch of school children got sick in India, and they ended up deciding it was the Coca-Cola, the crate of Coca-Cola that got them sick, and they ended up having to pull off like 300 million or a shit ton of Coca-Cola out of the area, and they were just trying. They couldn't figure out what the hell was making these kids sick, and that's what they centered on. So let me go ahead and play that.
It made no sense that there was poisoning by a single same agent.
After looking into it, Nemri and his colleagues concluded that the crisis was an example of what's known as a mass sociogenic illness, what used to be called mass hysteria. People had real symptoms. They were nauseated and vomiting and dizzy, and the initial batch of Coke served at the school in Bornham was a bit off. But the Coke didn't poison them. There was no actual connection between their sickness and the thing they thought made them sick. In the medical literature, there are countless cases like this. A group of people linked by some shared anxiety come to believe they have been exposed to something malevolent.
Wow.
And the scary thing is that when you're in the middle of a sociogenic outbreak, when you're vomiting and running a fever after drinking your can of Coke, you have no idea, none, that the cause of your illness is all in your imagination.
All right here.
Wow.
All right here. That was powerful. I heard that and I'm like, man, that's on point. Like the exact hysteria we're seeing today with this Trump derangement syndrome is what the right
really is.
would call it. It's exactly what's going on. I think it's mass sociogenic illness.
Here's the thing. You look outside, no one's getting hunted down by the cops. Gays aren't getting strung up. Blacks aren't being re-enslaved. Nobody is going, like you barely see anybody on the street.
Not in the U.S. anyway.
You don't see any more people on the street than you used to, okay? None of this has to do with Trump. All of this is a complete, it's a complete fabrication. And this is one of the things that I use, and I'll tell you something. The Socratic method works now more than it ever did because liberals don't even attempt at answering your questions now. I'm sorry. Liberals, you ask them your questions, you say, you use the Socratic method. They'll call you a racist and say, no. It's to the point where they'll call you a racist. You say, okay, name one racist thing that I said. And they'll say, I'm not falling for this.
I'm happens all the time.
Interview is over.
Interview over. Exactly.
Oh, you made the one time racist. Back it up.
No, because that's the thing. They'll say things like, "Oh, Trump has made so many lies, and everything that he says is racist." Name one thing.
Hey, that's when you look at him and you're like, "Oh my god, I don't want to be a racist. Please help me figure out what the hell I'm."
I get called a racist all the time because of my stance on the whole immigration. I'm Mexican. I get called. It's ridiculous.
Well,
and I'm gay, and I get called it.
How ironic.
It's just ridiculous.
How ironic.
For starters, white people don't have a monopoly on racism. Okay, that's like human frailty.
Dude, only whites can be racist. You don't have to have a monopoly. It's just truth. You just are the only ones that can.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, and I would love to get back to I know we never heard it from my mom, but I would love to hear about what happened over the last couple of days because that's some real honestly it's pretty nefarious.
Yeah, let's throw down with that. Start with square one, I guess.
Well, it's kind of personal, but it became public.
Not by you. You did not make it public.
Why don't you tell us?
Okay, Brian.
I mean, are you?
All right, not Brian. Brian isn't his name.
Don't name.
His name is Sam.
No names, no places.
His name isn't Brian. His name is
Stop
Sam.
it. Stop.
Mr. B.
All right, okay. No names. No need to call.
Been with the guy for 20 years.
This is a sickness.
Been with the guy.
We don't identify
for 20. All right, I'll just the bullet points. Been with a guy for 20 years. She's had sons who have always been outspoken. My brother and I are very outspoken. We always have been. Our beliefs have changed over the years. As we have gotten older, we have become more conservative and less liberal. Okay.
And I supported you.
But one of the constants throughout our whole lives, thankfully for my mom, is that always be true to yourself and always say what you think and say what you mean what you say, and go out there in the world and be a force for good in the world. That has always stuck with us. And she never tried to fill in the blanks for us. She let us fill in the blanks for ourselves. So when we became conservative, a whole bunch of her friends got a little bit upset, got a little bit weird. My mom, the lady who you see before you, she wasn't as cooperative at the time, but my brother and I took her advice that she gave us, and we went forth with our own opinion, using our mental faculties as our standard of, understanding the world.
Way to go, Mom.
Forth with our beliefs.
That's what my mom did as well. Just let us figure it out on our own.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And ultimately, my mom and my brother and I were best friends. Me, my mom, my brother, and my sister, we are a unit. And we love each other unconditionally. And when I came forward with
no matter what kind of racist beliefs you have, right?
Exactly. No matter how how many babies I personally lock in cages. Right. Okay.
She'll help you bury them.
That's the mark of a great mom.
Yeah.
Son, I disagree.
Miss Ellen. Oh my gosh.
like Brett, I disagree with you killing and murdering these babies, but I'll help you bury them. Just listen, the best place to bury them is out back behind the tree.
Look, I love you.
I'm prepared for this.
Anyway,
She seems like a great mom.
Go ahead.
She's
Go
awesome.
on.
She's the best. She's the best. And we butt heads. Don't get me wrong. All right, here's the thing. We butt heads, and it's been a long road from the time that listen, I came out. I walked away when it was not popular at all, when there was no walk away movement, when there was no net to catch you on. I lost my friends. I lost my family members without anyone to hold. I was just,
You have to go on it by yourself.
I went it alone, and I was a long road trying to get my mom to like jump on board, and little by little, inch by inch, like with patience and time, she started to see some of the things that I was talking about, and we started to come on some more even ground. And the more even ground we came on, the more her friends and family started to be like, "What's wrong with you, Ellen? What's the matter with you? Are you turning to the dark side with all these like Star Wars metaphors? Like, have you like joined up with Darth Vader now? Like,
all of a sudden, you're not everything we
now
say.
listen.
What's wrong with you?"
Contextually, all of my mom's friends have no idea the ongoing conversation we've had over the years. So when I post something on her Facebook, they have no idea that we just talked about that and that I'm just letting her know. Fast forward to a couple days ago, okay? She's with this guy for 20 years, okay?
Yeah.
He is a hardcore liberal. My brother told me that in a conversation between them that he admitted to being a communist.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay? That he admitted to being a communist. Okay?
And he's against
have reservations about communism.
Way less
Okay?
people than communism.
all right, get to the story, Brett.
The story is yesterday. Okay, look, a little background information is necessary. Okay,
I understand, but
I'm getting the bullet points. Okay, yesterday, Brian, who had
Brett,
Sam, sorry.
I love your mom. She's
Sam,
so
sorry,
cool.
brain fart, Sam.
not funny.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Sam basically said on his Facebook, okay, he started saying things like, he basically tagged my mom in a post and said, when does your song actually mean anything? By my silence, I give my consent. You are complicit. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. You are complicit with children being locked up and Trump, shirking all of our allies and making nice with all of our enemies and all this stuff. You are responsible. In public, on Facebook, in front of all their friends, all their liberal friends, basically where he knew it would be a mob to freaking come after her and be like, wait a minute, no, we can never support Trump under any circumstances ever. In other words, instead of just walking across the house to talk to her about an issue that he had with her politics, he went out on Facebook and basically incited a mob to come after her about and here's the kicker.
Equivalent of like pointing at her and saying she's a witch. Here's
the kicker. She never said anything about supporting Trump other than that whole right to try thing.
Yeah, like okay, it's like you can hate the guy and then like think, okay, well he did a couple things that like what's wrong with that? Hell, I'm sure you can come up with a list of 10 nice things to say even about Hitler. I mean, he wasn't 100% evil. I mean, he did. I'm sure he was a hell of an orator.
That's true.
Hey, he was an orator, right? Yeah, he was good at that speeches.
What's what I'm saying is like
Obama was a good orator.
I wouldn't even imagine the news coverage of Hitler back in the day was like 90% of negative coverage the way it is with. Like, sorry, go ahead and keep going with your story.
How did you handle it, Miss Ellen? Like, how did she handle that?
I've been crying the last 2 days solid because I can't believe that anybody would
betray.
I felt very betrayed, and I don't think that he understands what he did. He can't. If he does, then that's bad. If he just sort of spontaneously, felt the need to hang me out to dry, so to speak, I was shocked because it just how it felt. It felt cruel and unkind, and it wasn't. and it's not me. You know, it's not who I am. I've been proposing nothing but let's get along in peace, and you know, let's agree to disagree. I wrote a song recently called "Peaceful Activist," which they love. That's the interesting thing, is that they inspired the song. My liberal friends who have been ragging and shit slinging, they inspired the song because I am a peaceful activist. I'm not going to call you names. I'm not going to, you know, let's find some common ground,
Right.
you know, which there is. We all want the same things, believe it or not. You know?
Absolutely. We all want the three basic things. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we're
they're
human
so
beings.
unaware. They're so unaware of their own hatred that they don't see that the song is about them.
Yeah. And
yeah, absolutely. And they don't see the plight. Like, this is all for humanity. I mean, like, we're not pushing just like an agenda. It's, well, all we want is like liberation for everybody. Everybody wants the same exact thing: happiness, love, peace. That's it. And I'm sure that's what they want. But I don't know why they're going. I can't grasp my mind around why they chose the violent or the harassment, or it just doesn't make sense. It's not peaceful. It hurts humanity.
It does. And what's insane?
Let me throw something in here. Just to give the benefit of the doubt, is it possible that he's just viewing this as you have fallen out of the boat and he's trying to save you and pull you back into the fold? Like, is that? I mean, I don't see the context of it. I don't know, but is that?
No, because he was mean about it.
Here's the thing.
I don't really know.
No. Here's the thing. There's something that you do if you're really concerned about someone that you love, is that you talk to them personally. And if you really truly think that they've got some sort of mental issue that's making them vote for the wrong guy, then you talk to them personally. You don't air it out on Facebook for all of your friends before you even talk to who is literally across the house from you. You're barely even like 10 feet away, but you're going to reach out to people all around the world to help you, to back you up. You're so like, I'm sorry, like I've got a little.
How it is. It's a bandwagon thing that he tried to.
Yeah, he's like, he basically was like, you see, it's not just me who thinks this. Everyone else thinks this too. You see the mob behind me?
Pitchforks and torches.
So listen, I really do appreciate you being willing to be vulnerable and sharing that story, because I think that's going to benefit a lot of people who get to see this. And I'm sure a lot of people have experienced similar things where they're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to say something because they kind of inherently know that that's what's going to happen.
Well, you know something? The interesting thing about this at the moment is that I'm coming out and speaking about it, just like he came out, only I didn't want his name mentioned. However,
say his name. I'm just fine.
Sam, you mean Sam?
No.
Yeah, and it's not like me to rag on anybody, but this is very, it's very fresh.
The fact
I was very shocked. What?
Mom, let me tell you something.
What?
Mom. Sam. Put this out to all of your friends and all of his friends. You are putting this out to a bunch of people that don't know you and that you don't know. Okay, I'm sorry, but you still make out like a bandit on this.
Well, check this out. I mean, the fact that you, Ellen, are not willing or not feeling like you need to air out his name tells me that you are the kind of person that lives by the values that you put
absolutely
in that song that you put out. You live by those exact values.
I am absolutely stand by my lyrics. I stand by the music, and in a way, I'm glad that I was inspired to write it, because and the interesting thing is, like Brett says, my liberal friends, they love the song, but they don't really recognize that it's inspired by them.
If anybody wants to check out her music, I did provide a link in the description for her YouTube channel. She's got
Thank you
up there, so please be sure to check.
She seems like such a beautiful soul. Oh my gosh, I just want to hug her. You seem like a beautiful soul,
I got to grow up with her.
You raised a fine son. I met him personally, and he's got a firm handshake, and he's got a great personality.
I do too. I was there in Nashville when you were there. I don't know why we didn't meet, or maybe we did.
I'm not sure. I'm kind of shy at first when I meet people too, so I probably just shook his hand and kind of walked away.
I really, I got to tell you something. I really enjoyed meeting all of you, even though not you specifically, but all the people that Brett has met. And they are the nicest, kindest people. And when I think about what my friends think about people who are conservative and who support Trump, they must think they've got, war paint on or something, or,
swastikas on
something.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Swastikas on our chest.
Yeah, and they're waving swastika flags, or they're, wearing armbands with stars on them. God, I just, and some of them, I have a neighbor who is just the most delight. I'm so lucky. We moved to a new house 2 years ago, and I have this wonderful neighbor. She called me today because she knew that I was sad. And I had another call from another friend that saw the post, and she said, she says, Ellen, I just called to tell you how much I love you. And I mean, there are people like that out there, and they are coming up for air and responding to me and telling me how much they appreciate, what I do and how I am. And all I have done is talk peace, talk kindness, talk. That's all I've done. I mean, that's and
it's true.
What the hell's wrong with that?
It's true.
In this day and age, for some weird reason, peace and kindness. Speaking of peace and kindness, trying to get people to unify, it's frowned upon, and we're persecuted for that. I don't get it. It's weird. Yeah, I commend you, Ellen. You're beautiful.
I'd love. Brett is producing my new CD. It's all recorded. We're gonna put it together, and the best place to go would be to my website, ellenbuxtell.com.
Okay, I will make sure to add that to the description here.
And the Who's the Pusher Now video is on the home page.
You mind spelling that, Ellen?
Ellen, ELLEN BUKSTEL.com.
Okay, we'll definitely make sure to have that in the description here in about 5 seconds, because I've got a producer that does that kind of shit for me. She's awesome.
You know what's awesome about this is that we can say shit and piss and all that, and the FCC can't touch us.
I know.
What's even more awesome, Mom, is that he gave birth to his own producer just like you did.
All right.
Yeah, she took interest in it, and she's been helping me out every week, and
that's awesome.
Doing a fine job learning the ropes, and just
good for her.
She's willing to learn. I'm willing to teach. So
that's
she's
good.
actually
you're setting a fine example for
your
her.
best name on the description, so it'll be there here.
Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. I need some swag here.
Merch.
We got to promote. Say something.
I got Disgruntled USA. You can get your leftist tears, 100% Covfefe. You got your capitalism right here. You got your gun flag right
you're
here.
Prepared.
The right to bear arms. The right to bear arms. This got the Disgruntled USA. Now this is the bee's knees right here. World Microaggression Champion. We've got the best swag for all the conservative stuff, guaranteed to make your liberal heads explode, or 100% money back. Just kidding.
Just kidding. All right, before we wrap up, I do have a weekly thing that we've been doing for quite a few weeks now. My friend Anthony Trewick from Tennessee for Families helps me out with providing a mystery link of the week. Now, this link I have not seen, you guys have not seen, so it's going to be brand new to us live on the show. And, as a benefit of not being governed by the FCC, it can pretty much say whatever we want it to say, and no worries, except for boobs. We probably shouldn't do boobs.
Boobs.
YouTube frowns upon that. At any rate, so here in just a moment, we will show the mystery link. You can come back to it. It's fine. All right. So we're going to show the mystery link here. And I appreciate Anthony from doing that every week for us. So here we go. Y'all ready for this? All right. This video of a squirrel eating out of a condom sums up 2018.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I guess we got to wait for a damn ad to play, and then we'll see the video. You got sound? I want to make sure it's on. Not the...
Wake me up when the ad is over. Okay.
All right, ad's over.
It looks like a balloon.
That's sad.
Awesome.
I assume that's a used condom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I hope he's okay.
That's a resourceful little guy right there.
Protein.
I'm gonna name him Little Kim.
The moment was caught on camera.
Seminal
Really
moment.
cool.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh man.
It's not clear how the critter got a taste for contraceptives, or if the condom has been used.
Right. That was a freak.
All
And
right.
again, do you really want to know?
How long did he hold it? Like until
That's fantastic.
It's a pretty large condom.
Like, that's the second story of a squirrel we've
Or
had.
a small squirrel.
right?
No, you can stop now. It's fine. I think we've seen enough.
Right? Please, no more.
I'm sending you your mystery link next week, man.
Do you think maybe that squirrel was like the talk of his little squirrely tribe? Like, hey,
Right. Yeah, I got some.
I can eat my nuts out of a sack, guys.
Can I make a real quick disclaimer?
Sure.
I have no idea who would ever even see this post because my friends probably would never watch a liberal post. I mean, a conservative post. But if they do, I'm just shouting out that I really have always loved my friends and I respect that they have different opinion. I don't like the way they behave sometimes. That's how I feel, and I just want them to know, or anyone who hears this podcast.
Man, I sure appreciate that. I think this has been a fantastic episode. If you guys, if anybody, if you like this show and want to see more like it, just make sure you hit that subscribe button and let me know. Also, if you'd like to be a guest, if you have a story to tell, if you have an interesting take on something or a political ideology you want to challenge me on, be sure to head over to unframeofmind.com and click the Be My Guest button and just fill out the form. Tell me what you want to discuss, and we'll make sure to schedule you in. And also, just like Mr. Brett here, I've also got a place where you can support the show at unframeofmind.com/support. And there's various ways that you can support this show as well if you feel so inclined. I'd like to thank you guys again for coming on and discussing these stories and discussing these topics. These are difficult topics to discuss. I understand, and I really appreciate the vulnerability, and that's I can't even ask for anything better. So I look forward to having y'all back again if you're interested. Absolutely.
Thank you. It's good to meet you.
All right.
Thank you all. It's good to meet you all.
And
Thank you.